Hello. So I will put the phone. So I thought I would do a video again and see if I come up with anything to talk about. So what should I talk about? So I'm gonna brush my hair at the same time. So it's been an okay day today. But I've been bored at my life, like days, like not now, but the days I've been bored, and that's something I struggle with a little bit, like not having an interesting life, but a boring life basically. So yes. I came up with one thing I could mention. So when I was talking about that older man, like he did a lot of like awful things, obviously, but there was also one thing he did, and he threatened to put my pictures online, like revenge porn, like basically just putting me out there like as a revenge. So I don't know if he did that, but because I sent some I sent some sexy pictures to him, and he threatened to put them online. So have you ever been threatened, like to be put like explicitly online? Like it's terrible. to be threatened like that. And that has been a fear of mine. But you know how I think? Pamela Anderson. Like, I just think that if that happens, then it happens. And I can't do anything about it. Like, things I don't have any control of, I won't suffer from, you know? Like, so it's not in my control. It's him that has those pictures and he can do whatever he wants with them. I'm not gonna do anything about it, like, you know. So that's one thing to talk about. Facts about me. I relate to, this is gonna sound awful, but well, I relate to models and like modeling and being a model and being modeling. So that I relate to, but I also relate to prostitution, prostitutes. And when you watch those videos like of like prostitutes talking about them and their work, I kind of relate to that woman, that girl, for some reason. And I also like Pamela Anderson, and I like this type of women. Like, I don't know, I relate to them in some way. She has also been Playboy magazine, I guess, and was she in the mansion as well? I don't know. But I was like so into like sex trafficking and that type of stuff, like investigating and all these things. And I can talk about that a little bit. Like, I had this huge fear of being sex trafficked, like being sold or being sold. So that was really scary to go through. This huge fear of being kidnapped. And I remember I would live in my own apartment, and it was in my second apartment, and I would go to sleep and I would have these intense like voices that would talk about me being kidnapped. And I remember my windows, like they were covered with blinds, I think you call them. So they were shut, but I would have this fear, intense fear of someone like watching me, or like not watching me, but being able to look at me like from the window, like so that was something I struggled with, like having these fears of being kidnapped. I don't know if I talked about that yet, but now I talked about it, so I don't have those fears anymore, but I had them. So yes, it was really intense. That whole thing with that older man experience, it kind of made me feel like a prostitute, like that I would be a prostitute. Like, it was so dark, like the way we met, and I guess my wish would be to not experience anything like that again. but something more romantic or something more nice, something more like gentle and kind, and like not something like that, you know. But if I'm being honest, what I wish for the most is social contact and social connection, and something is better than nothing. So, but that being said, I don't wish to experience anything like that again. Like that's what I have to say, like now, today, 2025. So I think I'm worth more than that. So, but being alone a lot, and it has been really hard, really tough to be so alone, and wrong type of males in my life, and I have drawn a quite good thing that I just saw. So this is in Swedish. Wait. It's in Swedish and English and Finnish. So I can translate it. But first, showing the picture so you can pause it. It's so good. So basically, the fear of abandonment, I have drawn that as a ghost. So it comes and scares you, you know, because that's how it felt like. It was really scary, like it was scaring me. So here's other ghosts too. So the borderline ghost comes. So that I think has been really great way to express it. So as like the borderline coming and scaring you. So then here, flyttar de, are they moving? So me thinking, like, are they moving? So here comes the abandonment ghost. So I feel abandoned, threatened, like that they're gonna leave me. And kolistelu, it means like doing noises basically. So you can hear from neighbors, from neighbors, you can hear the sounds. That would be the triggering for me. So trigger, I have wrote hör, I hear it. So here comes the abandonment ghost again, like scaring me. And lämnar de mig? Are they leaving me? And när flyttar de? When are they moving? Känslor, emotion. Jag, me. Dragkedja, zipper. So when I hear someone closing the zipper to a bag or to shoes or to a code or something, zipping it, it triggers me because it reminds me of leaving. So someone is like leaving. Again, abandonment ghost. And then here is another trigger, and that is when people are walking with bags, like this type of like noisy bags, like bags that do noise when you walk with them, like those type of bags. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but there are those bags you can get from the market, from the store, but just like someone walking with bags, a lot of bags. But if you hear the noise from bags, or if you see them, then that will trigger me. So I thought this was pretty great, what I had drawn. So yes, I feel pretty safe now. So here where I live. But I know that if I would live in an own apartment, then I could be triggered again. But maybe I'm learning how to handle those triggers more. I always knew back then, when I was being constantly triggered, that I would need a calm environment, like somewhere where I can heal and not be constantly triggered. So I have related to complex PTSD, but I don't know if that was what I was suffering from, but definitely anxiety at least, and my borderline issues. Here's the deal though, I don't believe that there is something as borderline and ADHD or personality disorders, like in that sense that it's like a magical disorder coming from nowhere landing on you. I believe we have these symptoms, these traits, and we can categorize them and put them into categories. And that's what I think I suffer from, like borderline traits and ADHD traits, and for whatever reason that is. And when it comes to that borderline, it's definitely those abandonment fears and intense fear of abandonment, and that are like triggering me to react. So, but complex PTSD would be the reason for why I think I would have suffered from that. Obviously, I haven't been kidnapped anywhere or been in war or anything, but I was in a family where there were problems and I argued a lot there. And then this society been difficult for me. That's why I put myself into that category, that I would have complex PTSD. I just related to those things, but I doubt about if my traumas have been that heavy or serious, like that it would be categorized as complex PTSD. Maybe not. So like there was a time when I started like reflecting a lot into what I have experienced. Like when you notice all these videos on YouTube, like a lot of videos, you will see them and you know what I mean if you have seen them. Then you start reflecting a lot into it and you start thinking that maybe my family was the same, maybe my mom, maybe my dad, maybe my parents, maybe my sister, maybe my brother, maybe my children have this and are narcissist or borderline or has ADHD or has Asperger's. It's a lot like this nowadays. People blaming like others a lot for their suffering and just trying to categorize everything and everyone. And I am in that awareness now that I'm quite sensitive actually as well, but like I'm hyper aware of things. But I have started becoming aware of myself more and what is going on inside of me and what is going on around me, of course, too. But I'm not blaming others as much anymore. So I'm not like trying to point out at others anymore, like what they've done and that they are narcissist or they have borderline, or I don't really care anymore about that. Like I'm not as much blaming others anymore. So, but when I was doing this, then I found myself in thinking and talking about my traumas and that I have been traumatized and complex PTSD and childhood abuse and childhood emotional neglect and childhood sexual abuse. And I don't know like what of this I have experienced anymore, like, but I know that I maybe dramatized it a little bit. So but when you find these videos on YouTube, you start like aha, that was the reason. See, we are asking this question like inside of us, like either before or after seeing these videos. We start thinking like, what happened to me? Like, what if that happened to me? And then we want attention. And I'm not saying everyone like does this for attention, but for me it was a lot like also getting attention to me. But it was true and right as well. Like I have experienced some experiences I had talked about, but like categorizing it as abuse and stuff like that is quite strong. So I've come to that. So I cringe at people who are at that stage like that they are accusing others a lot, and like every ex is a narcissist and their mother has borderline and their dad is a psychopath, and it just sounds pretty dramatic, you know? But some are a psychopath and a narcissist, but I'm talking about like over dramatizing it, like people who haven't even been diagnosed being diagnosed. And so that is something. And I have also noticed that being alone is really difficult, and I really want a relationship. And I have noticed some men like talking about relationship being like something traumatizing. So a lot of unhealed people out there, and I think when we start reflecting and not into ourselves but outwards, we start accusing others and we start blaming others for what is going on inside of us. So I'm not saying it's not right that your mother might be something or your father might be something, but we kind of like start blaming on others sometimes, and sometimes it goes wrong. And I was being tested by a psychologist as well during that time, and even I got even her to like write, you know how dangerous it is. I even got her to write down like that my family was traumatizing, and me being traumatized and experienced traumas, and probably yes, but they were not maybe that dramatic or heavy that I made them look like. So I am friends with my mom nowadays, and we don't argue because I don't argue anymore. So um and I see my dad, like I have found peace and a little bit too much of it. Like I'm so bored, but like things that should happen more. Things should happen more. But yes, basically just getting into that subject, like um I know what I'm talking about, and yes, I'm being friends with my parents nowadays, and they haven't been perfect, and I have experienced emotional neglect. But it wasn't just from my parents, it was by this whole society and friends and stuff like that. But I'm not accusing my parents anymore. Like I'm just living my life, and I'm just like enjoying what I get and their company, and they're getting older, and just be a little bit careful of accusing everyone for something and blaming and doing that stuff. Like it's just something that is sometimes meant for God or something bigger to judge, and karma will take care of it self, and there is a higher power, and there is an upper hand, and sometimes you just have to give space for that and stop accusing and blaming someone else, others, for something that you caused. I don't know. I'm just being aware like of these things. So I'm not talking about the ones who have been abused by their parents, like, or someone. I'm talking about like when you have dramatized things a little bit and it wasn't that heavy. So, but you have found these YouTube videos and now you think that everyone is a narcissist or but Melanie Tonia Evans, or what her name was, she has great videos, and I still believe in those videos and her, but I don't watch them personally. I want to live my life, and I don't want to over-educate myself with things, and I just want to experience life. Like, I don't want to be too smart, too, like, intelligent, too wise, and sometimes you can also get secondary traumatized, like when you read things that have happened to others and you can't comprehend it, you start getting like traumatized yourself, like for what you read. Like, so that is another thing. I'm looking at the clock, so I have to go and take my medication. Basically, it's that time.